Okay, YouTube, got another video review for you today. This is a book that I could not put down once I started. If you are like me and weren't really sure if Kabbalah in general was something you wanted to study or practice with the Qliphoth aspect, I don't normally do this, but go ahead and buy this book. I've never actually spent much time studying or learning about the Kabbalah, even after all these years. So I was kind of upset that I didn't pull the trigger sooner and buy this book when it first came out. On the plus side, Arcane Offerings, they do have the hardcover available at regular retail price. So if this is a book that you want to get, I highly recommend it. Jewish mysticism isn't something that, again, really has any interest for me. But the way that Dr. Karlsson presents the information, it really changed my mind on the idea. Obviously, Kabbalah is extremely crucial in the occult and esotericism in general, but just kind of putting a different spin on the idea of God and creation and Lucifer and some of those terms made this a lot more digestible for me, from somebody who deconverted from Christianity after 30 years. So trying to overcome some of my own preconceived ideas, and I think this book helped a lot with that. Jumping into the table of contents, the tree before the fall talks about, the Garden of Eden, the creation account, and some other ideas and concepts throughout the book. And, the author mentions, instead of thinking of it as God in the terms of Yahweh, then you can think of it as universe or those creative powers. The origins of the Kabbalah, definitions, the Sephiroth and the Tree of Life, Ein Sof and the Sephiroth, all the paths that connect those Sephira in the tree. And then, again, this goes back into more detail of the fall of Lucifer, some sections on the nature of evil, the Qliphoth, starting out with Demonology, primordiality of evil. That was one that I thought was very interesting. Just kind of running through here, and then it goes into the 10 Qliphoth in detail, invocations, the tunnels, sigils, and then the section towards the end on Goetic magic. Again, just kind of giving an overview because it talks about so many topics. So even if you have zero background in the Kabbalah, like essentially I did, this is a really good book to jump in. The other thing I like about it is because of it being such a heavy topic, it is very digestible. A lot of the sections, as you probably saw from the table of contents, they're very small sections, so you can pick it up, read a section, and then do whatever you need to do. And then talks about the Tree of Life itself. And then later on, it gets into the Qliphoth, which is the left-hand path side, the inverse, the mirror of the abyss to the Tree of Life. There are the Kings of Edom, which is the 11-pointed star that you see on the front of the page. And one thing that I thought of, or not that I thought of, but I realized is that, if you go through the creation account, before light was created, there was darkness, there was the void, there was that, some would say negative or some would say evil energy, but that was just the titanic essence that was before the creation, something that predated what you would call right-hand path. And that's something that really resonated with me that I didn't think of before reading this book. One of the big things for my path is really going back as old as possible. going back to those religions and those deities or gods that predate Christianity, going back to before the Bible, going back to that original source. And if you call it the Big Bang, or you call it the void and how things split and creation occurred, whatever term, there seems to be that originating source. And the Sitra Ahra, which is the other side, is that original source, that original void. If you follow my channel, you've probably seen that I did a series, a few videos anyway, on the Black Dragon by A Tremendous Press, and then I recently ceased that practice. And honestly, reading this book, the Black Dragon is really just based off Qabalah. You change or stick to the term dragon instead of void, or darkness in general, and that's really where you're at. It's just this book explains it a lot better. So if that's something, if the Book of the Black Dragon is still part of your path working, then I highly recommend this book, because honestly it makes a lot more sense, and it's one book instead of who knows how many we'll end up having with the Black Dragon series. Later on in the book, about page 100 or so, you'll get to a diagram of the Qliphoth. And then down here at Lilith, which is the initiation gateway, Lilith is who you go through to begin working through the Qliphoth. And then you have your, opposition to the Trinity or Godhead of sorts. You have the twin gods, the concealers, and the hinderers of the, I guess you could say, unholy trinity, for lack of a better term, for the Qliphoth. That does go into a lot of information on the Torah and the Talmud. So even if you aren't, again, well-versed in Judaism or Jewish mysticism, the book goes through just enough to understand where everything's coming from as far as the source material. There is some art towards the middle here. Some of it is by different artists. A lot of it is from the author himself, Thomas Karlsson. And I'm not going to show all these, but there's a few color panels in there. And then it gets into some of the invocations, and then a little bit of the magic squares. And then on the other page here, you can see some of the sigils for the tunnels, and Black Sun and the Antichrist, Central Sun of Qliphoth, nice red ribbon bookmark. And then it gets into the sigils for each of the spheres on the Qliphoth. Towards the end of the book, let's see where it's at exactly. You get into the actual Goetic aspect of the book. And I mean, honestly, a lot of us probably already have the Lesser Key of Solomon or some other type of book, but really, I mean, if you're really strapped on space, or if you don't have it yet, you could probably just stick with this, because it actually has all of the demons listed. If you want to use the term demons, or just, spirits, a lot of really good details in the back of the book. I think the Lesser Key of Solomon, at least for me, in my opinion, it's such a monumentous piece that having its own book in some form feels correct to me. But again, if you're just starting out, this might be one of the best books to get with. It is a little bit heavier on the content, but it's a really good starting point. It doesn't have fluff. It just gets you to where you need to be, and then see if it's right for you, and go from there. And that's what we're all doing. So I think this is probably my third or fourth book from Thomas Karlsson. Again, I picked up Black Mass on a whim on the paperback version because it was my first book, and like I said in my video review on the channel, it looked a little on the nose with some of the imagery, but the content was astounding. And I'm going back and getting the rest of his books, and I have the his latest trilogy that just released. I've got that on pre-order, so lots more to come. But yeah, certainly pick up this book if you haven't. I'm kind of late to the party on this one, but just wanted to share my thoughts, and hope you have a good weekend.